Okay, this is the problem we're trying to solve. Big air gap, letting in lots of light, and you can basically fly a kite in this guy's kitchen. So we want to go ahead and seal this up. We got to clean out the door jamb and get rid of all that closed cell rubber strips that were hanging all over the place, which I've already done here. So let's take a look at the couple of products you can use to do this effectively.
Okay, I'll put links up to these in the video. I wasn't able to find anything like this at Home Depot or Lowe's, so I had to order it online. The ones that you can get at Lowe's have larger wood receivers, and they have a much smaller foam coverage. They really can only cover maybe half an inch of a gap. These ones both do a full 3/4, which if you have a lot of warped or older doors, that can be really important. Now the one on the left here I got from Amazon and is a little more expensive, actually quite a bit more expensive. The one on the right came from Conservation House, and there's probably other sites that carry it, but I'll post a link to that. And is less expensive, and they're pretty similar, but there's some significant differences. You can see the foam on the left is much thicker, and there's much more resistance. This is a lot flimsier. I expect over time it probably will lose its spring. You can also see the one on the left is much lower profile, a lot less metal. The one on the right is quite a bit heavier, and it's bigger, takes a bigger footprint. But the thing most worries me is that the Amazon one, the foam rubber insert moves back and forth. You can move and then cut and then move it back and cut the foam rubber separate, which is handy. This one is glued in there, and that's true of all of their pieces. So you have to cut them together, which, I mean, that may not be a deal breaker for you, but it annoys me. So I pay a little more, and I get free shipping on Amazon, so it's not too bad. But if you're going to buy a bunch, you might want to go with the one on the right because you'll save some money. Now, one other difference here that I want to point out, the way they've done the foam rubber, marrying it to the aluminum receiver, they have a little bit of a ridge here that is designed to make a seal with the wood on the door jamb. Now, while they say that, and the other one is just plain metal, it's bare, and they tout that as an advantage, but either way, I still put a bead of caulk along here, along my door jamb, because I'm old school, and I don't really think that's going to create a very good seal, and I want to make sure no air is getting behind it. So you'll see me when I install this, I put up a quick bead of caulk. Nothing too major. So those are the differences between the two. You can make your decision about which is more interesting to you.
Okay, here we are out on the job site. This is the kit. You get 3 long pieces for the sides and a shorter piece for the top. You can see that that's the Amazon version that we were showing you just a little bit ago. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and close the door. Press it up so that it's against the latch, and then go ahead and measure for the top, and then cut to length. Now, some guys prefer to use a like a hacksaw. I just keep it simple, and I use tin snips. Move the rubber out of the way, cut it in a couple clips, straight piece, and then the actual groove that holds the rubber. It can bend a little bit, but you can usually straighten it out with a tin snips if that's a problem. It's usually not. So I just go ahead and cut it straight. I do craftsman style install, as the kids say. I know some guys do angled cuts. It just complicates things needlessly and doesn't really help. So I go ahead and just put it finger tight. Don't go overly nuts and crank on it as tight as you can. The first one of these I installed, I got a little over exuberant and made it tight. My poor tenant ended up calling me back, and he was like, I can't close my door. He was an older gentleman, and you know, you have to be sensitive. Not everybody is going to want to rail themselves at their door to make it latch. So it only has to be tight enough to make a good seal. So it doesn't have to be applying a huge amount of pressure to the door. Now, I don't do all the screws. I'll go ahead and do the top and then the side along where the door handle is. I was closing the door and then pushing it back against the latch. I've seen guys do this with the door open, which doesn't make any sense to me. You'll end up having to adjust a whole bunch of times doing that. Doing with the door closed, you could usually get it right the first time. But once I get the top and the side with the door handle on, I'll then go inside and check and make sure my light is not coming through and I've got a nice tight seal. So again, we're going to mark and we're going to cut. This is one of the reasons why I prefer the Amazon version, is because you can go ahead and get that rubber on out of the way. It makes it a little easier to make a clean cut there. So we're going to go ahead and snip it and pull it down and pop it back up there. Often I have to do little adjustment cuts. Getting the top of it exactly measured correctly is sometimes a bit of a bear. But anyway, it's why one of the reasons I like this kit is because it's such a small footprint. You don't really have to worry too much about it getting in the way of the door handle. Some of the bigger ones with wood receivers, you do. So here we go. Now I've got those two up. I go inside, I check. Everything is nice and tight, sealed the way it should be. I always make sure that the door opens and closes without a Herculean effort. And then I go ahead and put the one on the door where the hinges are, which isn't as important with respect to how easy the door is to open and close. So here we are with the finished up there, and I'm going to go ahead and put a bead of caulk. I use clear out all weather for doors and windows and whatnot. I like these small tubes as opposed to pulling out the big gun. Now this goes on white, but it dries clear. So when you have an odd color like this, the previous owner obviously liked hospital green or whatever. I will eventually get around to repainting this place, but not right now. But it's nice because you don't have to be perfect with your bead. And you can see, I mean, it smooshes out a little bit here and there, but it dries clear and is completely invisible. So it's actually kind of nice. I've taken to using that all the time. But I get up into the corners and I get that front edge to make sure no air comes back. So there's the finished job. Kind of blends in with the security door, the white. So it actually makes a nice job. I'll do a separate video where we'll do different options for the back sweeps. There's a couple of different products.